and I want to say that you know, on a kind of like on a religious level, we see in Genesis 4:26 that it was in the time of Enosh, that they began to call on the name of Yahweh. So that precedes the flood. When we get to Exodus chapter 6, something is very important. In verse 2 of Exodus chapter 6, it says, "Then God spoke to Moses, telling him, I am Yahweh. And I appeared," right, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as God Almighty, right, El Shaddai. "But I was not known to them by my name, Yahweh." Okay. Many scholars, many rabbis will say, well, this is the covenant name. However, Yahweh is used to describe God prior to him revealing himself to Moses. But what's very important is that you don't have a blasphemy law for that name prior to chapter 20 of Exodus, verse 7. So there's something very important about that name, that now God has to put a prohibition on misusing that name. Never before was that prescription given. And in that sense, when we think of the importance of that name, it's so important that God would actually prohibit misusing that name. That brings us to the distinction between this general term Allah, which to me is a pagan Kaaba god, and our God. I mean, there's simply a major distinction, because along with the revealing of that name to Moses, later came a prescription for misusing that name. So it's very important, and throw it around like it's equivalent to just other terms like El or Aloha to me is just straight up blasphemy.